Peace and blessings, family. This is Ubria, and I am back with another reading. This might resonate with you or with someone in your energy. You will receive valuable insight either way. And if it doesn't apply, let it fly. So, this is more of an intuitive message than a reading. I don't have any cards or anything, but I do have something that I want to tell you. And I want to tell you that you are a spiritual scientist. And as a spiritual scientist, you can't get too caught up in the results, because with life, with spirituality, with reality, and with science, the point is the process. The point is the scientific process and not so much the results. And I'll tell you what I mean. When I was younger, I had this friend. We went to college together, and we used to just deal with the most trifling shit with our dudes, like straight up. And we're both writers. And one thing we would agree with each other on is that this is not our life. We say this all the time. Like, no, this is not really my life. Like, I'm just playing this role. This is my part, but like, this is not my life for real. I'm saying all that to say, I think that that has helped me, and that has probably helped you as well, get through a lot of situations that would have derailed other people who overly identify with the circumstances that is unfolding. So, for instance, I used to be homeless, right? There are certain people who would make that their identity going forward, like as if it means something about them, like a circumstance that they went through. Do you know what I mean? I'm struggling to say this, but I'm trying to say is, with life, whatever circumstances you find, like whatever circumstances happen, you have to let them move past you, but don't confuse them with you. Like, they are not you. They're just what you're going through. So I'll put it to you this way. Like, if you go through a hoe phase, it doesn't make you a hoe. Do you know what I mean? If you, yeah, I don't really have any examples. The point that I'm trying to make, though, is that I think that we're spiritual scientists, and I think that we're running experiments on reality. Okay. And I know that for me, like, when I try something new in my life, and this will be an experiment. Whenever I try a new experiment in my life and it doesn't, like, I have a hypothesis of how I think it will go, and it doesn't necessarily go that way, then I get really down on myself for not knowing how things would turn out. This is really a struggle with people who like live on faith, who live very close to God, and who maybe don't have traditional jobs or traditional means of making money or traditional housing. Maybe, people who travel, people who kind of like live off of the internet, they work from home so they can live anywhere. Just, it's like, I feel like technology has really opened up like a lot of new possibilities in terms of how people live their lives. But the unseen spiritual side of that is that a lot of people are really living on faith. And when you live on faith, you live off of your intuition. You live off your impulses. And if your intuition tells you to do something, or if you have an impulse or an instinct to do something, you start to think that just because you have that instinct means that that thing is going to work out how you think that thing is going to mean. Like, just because God tells us to do things does not mean that they're going to work out to our end. Like, say if you pray for money and God tells you, okay, call this nigga, that does not mean that nigga go give you that money. Like, I mean, it's like, that's just an example, but I mean, yeah, things don't always work out the way that you think they're going to work out, but it doesn't mean that you were wrong for doing it. And I think a lot of us get caught up in blaming ourselves and doubting ourselves because the thing that we had the impulse to do, the motivation to do, did not turn out the way that we wanted it to. But I think if we can take seriously the premise that we are spiritual scientists running experiments on reality, then when things do not go the way that we think that they should go, all that means is that the results disproved your hypothesis. And A true scientist would just find that interesting. They wouldn't get super upset about it because it's just part of the job. Like, it's part of the expectation is that you think that a certain thing will happen, you run the experiment, and then you record what happens, but you're not attached to it matching your hypothesis. The point that I'm trying to make is if you can loosen your grip on what you expect to happen just because you do something, then you can be more flexible when the results come. And it's very important as a spiritual scientist running experiments on reality to be flexible about your results, because you have to keep your eye on the point, and the point is the process, because the process is your life. We're going to do this our entire life. Get an impulse to do something, do that thing, and it either turns out how we thought it was going to turn out or it doesn't. It either turns out worse than we thought or it turns out better or completely different. That is all of life. That's all it is. That's all we do from the time we're born until the time we die is test our hypothesis. We do affirmations. We say, oh, I'm going to have a great day. That's your hypothesis. And then it goes how it goes. And at the end of the day, you thank God for the results, because either way, you were alive that day. So I think that for us folks who do live really on faith and live on our impulses and our intuition, you have to be more gentle with yourself in terms of how things go. I think there's this fallacy that we start to get. It's like this association thing, right? Where, say if you're a baby and you ring a bell and then your mother brings you dinner, but maybe your mother's been making dinner the whole time, right? The fact that she comes out and dinner is ready means that she prepared for you, means that she started chopping and sauteing an hour ago. So the fact that you ring your little bell now and it comes out ready, the fact that that baby rang the bell is not what cooked the food. The mother cooked the food. And if the food ain't ready, he could ring that bell till he blew in the face. There's nothing coming out the kitchen. I think sometimes we as God's children get confused and think that just because we pray for something or we get an impulse at the same time that our blessing is coming, that we think we made the blessing come. We did not. We did not. We did not. We are God's children, which means we are thought for, prepared for, and we have been set upon a path. And there's going to be some disappointments on the path. Your job is to learn about the path, navigate the path, and report back. Somebody sends you into a territory and they say, I think this road ends in China, but you go see. I want you to go on this road, and I think this road ends in China, but you go see. Are you gonna hate yourself if the road comes out in South Africa instead? Like, your job is just to get on the road and be a spiritual scientist, record your results. And if with any experiment, you always have the what's the word? Prerogative to change the conditions if you don't like the results that you're getting. You can change the conditions, you can do another experiment, but what you can't do and what you shouldn't do is get down on yourself. Like, this is your life, man. The number one thing is to enjoy it. So, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you later.